Rain soaked Elena's coat as she rushed down the crowded city street, her mind racing with the bills she hadn't yet paid and the grocery list she would never finish. That's when she saw it, a sleek leather wallet lying in a puddle, water seeping into its corners. Without thinking, she picked it up and ran after the man who had dropped it. He was impossibly tall, impossibly handsome, and clearly furious, until she returned it. And then, his eyes softened in a way that made her heart twist unexpectedly. I think you dropped this," she stammered, holding out the soaked wallet. The man stared at her. For a moment, the rain seemed to pause. And then he smiled, a small, almost vulnerable smile that whispered secrets she didn't yet understand. Thank you," he said. "You just returned more than my wallet. You returned my hope." Elena frowned. What did that even mean? She had enough problems of her own to deal with. A job she could barely keep, a son who depended on her, and a life that never gave her a break. Yet something in his gaze told her this encounter would change everything. And she had no idea just how much. Because the wallet she returned would set off a chain of events that neither of them could have imagined. Storms of danger, family secrets, and a love strong enough to defy the past, the present, and everything in between. By the end of the day, Elena would realize that sometimes one small act of kindness could change a life forever. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more thrilling stories. Rain hammered against the thin plastic roof of the bus shelter as Elena Rivera wrapped her coat tighter around her 6-year-old son, Leo. The world had not been gentle with them lately. After losing her job at the bakery and falling behind on rent, all she could do was keep going. For Leo. Always for Leo. When the bus finally arrived, something on the ground caught her eye, a sleek black wallet, soaked but unmistakably expensive. She picked it up, thumbing through the cards just long enough to find a name. Adrian Hale. The Adrian Hale. CEO of Hale International. Billionaire. Philanthropist. A man whose face had been on magazines Elena used to flip through at the grocery store. She almost put the wallet on the lost and found shelf at the station, but then Leo tugged her sleeve. "Mom, maybe he's sad without it." And so, the next morning, Elena found herself in the marble-floored lobby of Hale International, dwarfed by glass walls and pillars taller than dreams. She held the wallet like it was made of glass. Adrian Hale descended the staircase with a presence that silenced the room. But the moment his eyes landed on the wallet, and then on Elena, something softened in his perfectly sculpted features. "You found this?" he asked, shocked. "I've been looking everywhere." Elena nodded. I thought you might need it." Adrian studied her. Not with suspicion. With gratitude. With something warmer. "Most people wouldn't have returned it," he said softly. "I'm not most people," she replied before she could stop herself. Leo peeked out from behind her, wide-eyed. Adrian knelt. "And who's this?" "My superhero," Elena said. Adrian's smile deepened, and something shifted, delicate and unexpected. He insisted on thanking them properly, which Elena politely refused. But Adrian was persistent, offering lunch as a gesture of gratitude. They ended up in a quiet restaurant overlooking the city, Elena uncomfortable in her thrift store blouse, Leo fascinated by the tiny lights on the ceiling, and Adrian watching them like they were something he hadn't realized he'd been missing. By dessert, Leo was laughing. Elena's shoulders had relaxed. And Adrian looked peaceful. Over the next weeks, Adrian found reasons, small, innocent reasons, to see her again. A thank you note he forgot to give. A children's book he thought Leo might like. A bakery recommendation he needed help choosing. Elena tried to keep distance. Men like him didn't fall for women like her. But Adrian didn't seem to know that. He admired her strength, her kindness, the gentle way she wiped flour from Leo's nose, the fierceness in her voice when she talked about protecting her son. And somewhere between shared coffees and shy smiles, the billionaire began to fall, quietly, deeply, for the single mom who returned far more than his wallet. One evening, after dropping off a new sketchbook for Leo, Adrian lingered at the doorway. "Elena, I like being around you. Both of you." His voice was almost a whisper. "I don't want this to end." She felt her breath hitch, her heart trembling between fear and hope. Adrian, our worlds are very different. They don't have to be. Just as he stepped closer, lightning cracked the sky, and the power in the entire street went out. Leo's small voice yelled from the living room. Mom, the landlord came. He said we have to leave tonight. Elena went pale. Adrian's expression darkened with protective resolve. Elena, he said, stepping inside, you're not going anywhere. Not tonight. Not ever without help. But before he could say more, a black car screeched to a stop outside. A man stepped out. Elena froze. Adrian stiffened. Leo whispered, trembling, Mom, is that my dad? Elena's breath caught in her throat. The headlights from the black car sliced through the darkness, landing squarely on the man stepping toward the building. His shoulders were broad, his posture confident, but there was something unsettled in his stance, like he wasn't entirely sure he should even be there. Elena instinctively pulled Leo behind her. Adrian stepped forward, subtly placing himself between them and the approaching stranger. The man lifted his chin. Elena. Her name coming from his mouth felt like a ghost reaching through time. Daniel, she whispered, barely audible. Leo clutched her arm, confused. Mom, who is he? Elena swallowed hard. He's someone from before. But Daniel didn't wait for permission. He stepped closer, hands raised slightly as if approaching something fragile. Elena, I shouldn't have come this late. Or after so long. But I heard what happened. The eviction. The job. I should have been there sooner. I'm sorry. Adrian's brows pulled together. Who are you? Daniel's eyes flicked to him only for a heartbeat before returning to Elena. I'm Leo's father. The words crashed through the tiny apartment like a storm. Leo's mouth fell open. My dad. Daniel's voice broke. Yes, buddy. I wanted to come back sooner, I swear. I made mistakes. But I'm here now. Elena felt every emotion she had fought to bury clawing its way to the surface. Anger, disbelief, grief, fear, and something else. Something dangerously close to hope. Old hope. Unwanted hope. Adrian sensed her trembling and stepped closer, a gentle but protective presence at her side. Daniel noticed. And who is he? Elena opened her mouth, but her voice failed her. Adrian answered instead, calm but firm. I'm someone who cares about Elena and Leo. Deeply. Even in the doorway's dim light, Elena saw Daniel's jaw tighten. So you replaced me, he said quietly. No, Elena said sharply, finding her voice again. You left us. You made that choice. No one replaced anything. Leo looked between them, eyes glassy. Why did you leave? Daniel's face crumpled. Because I was stupid. Too young to be a dad. I thought you'd be better off without me. But I was wrong. All these years. I was wrong. Elena felt tears burn at the edges of her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. Then Daniel took a hesitant step forward. Elena, I want to make things right. I want to be part of his life. Both of yours. If you'll let me. Silence hung heavy, too heavy. Then Adrian spoke, voice steady but colored with something vulnerable. Elena, you don't owe him anything. You and Leo deserve love, stability, respect. Not broken promises. Daniel's eyes flashed with something between guilt and irritation. And you think you're the one to give her that? A billionaire who can buy anything but a real life. I'm not buying anything, Adrian replied softly. I'm offering what I feel. Elena's breath hitched. 2 men, 2 pasts, 2 futures, and a child caught between them. As thunder rolled across the sky, Leo suddenly ran toward the door, straight into the rain, too overwhelmed, too frightened. Leo! Elena cried, sprinting after him. Both men leapt forward at the same time. But when they reached the street corner, Leo was no longer there. The night swallowed his small figure, and the only thing left behind was his little blue backpack lying in the middle of the road. Rain hammered the pavement as Elena stumbled toward the small blue backpack lying abandoned in the middle of the road. Her hands shook violently as she lifted it. Leo! Her voice tore through the night, raw and terrified. Adrian swept his flashlight app across the darkness, jaw tense. He can't have gone far. Daniel ran in the opposite direction, shouting Leo's name with a desperation that made Elena's chest ache in ways she didn't want to acknowledge. Elena clutched the backpack to her chest, rain and tears mixing on her cheeks. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. He was right here, he was just here, her voice cracked. Adrian stepped toward her, hands gently but firmly on her shoulders. Elena, we're going to find him. I promise you, we won't stop until we do. But she was already pulling away, scanning every shadow, every alleyway, every doorway. Leo, she screamed, voice echoing against the brick buildings. Baby, please answer me. Then, a faint sound. A small cry. Elena spun toward it, hope exploding in her chest. That way! Daniel shouted, already sprinting toward a narrow alley to the left. They all rushed toward the sound. But as they turned the corner, they froze. Leo wasn't there. Instead, lying in a shallow puddle, barely visible in the dim glow of a flickering streetlight, was something else. Leo's little red rain boot. Elena's breath collapsed out of her lungs. No, she whispered, knees buckling. Adrian caught her before she hit the ground, his arms strong around her trembling frame. Elena, don't assume the worst. Kids drop things when they run. He could have. But Elena shook her head, gripping the boot as if it were her son's hand. He was scared he never goes far. He always stays where I can see him. Her voice fractured. Someone must have taken him. Daniel's face went white with panic. No, please, not him. Not our boy. Adrian's expression darkened, protective instincts firing like electricity. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's check the security cameras on this block. I can call someone. But before he could finish, a black van at the far end of the alley roared to life. All three of them snapped their heads toward it. The driver hit the gas. The van peeled away, tires shrieking against wet pavement. Daniel bolted after it. Hey! Stop! Daniel! Elena shouted, but he didn't slow. Adrian grabbed his phone. I'm calling the police. Elena stared helplessly at the tail lights disappearing into the storm, her heart shattering. Her baby, her little boy, gone. Adrian reached for her hand. She didn't pull away this time. Elena, we're going to get him back. But she barely heard him, because as lightning flashed across the sky, something caught her eye in the puddle beside the lost boot. A business card, soaking wet, half crumpled, but unmistakably marked in gold ink. Hail International. Elena looked at Adrian slowly, fear and confusion twisting inside her. Why would a van, taking my son, have something with your company's logo on it? Adrian's face drained of color. Elena, I don't know. But I swear to you, I had nothing to do with this. Her lips trembled. And for the first time since she met him, she wasn't sure what or who to trust. Rainwater dripped from the edge of the business card as Elena held it between trembling fingers. The gold lettering shimmered faintly under a stuttering streetlight, as if taunting her with its impossible presence. Hail International. Adrian's company. The van that sped away with her son had his logo tied to it. Elena turned to him, breath shattering, eyes burning. Adrian, why? Why was this near Leo's boot? Adrian looked at her as though she'd physically struck him. Elena, I swear on my life, I don't know how that got here. Daniel stepped between them, chest heaving, protective instincts flaring. This is your company. Your people. Your logo. You expect us to believe this is a coincidence. Adrian met his glare without backing down. What I expect is for you to think for 1 second before accusing me of kidnapping a child I care about. Rain continued pounding the alley as tension crackled between the two men. Heavy, electric, dangerous. Elena pressed a fist to her mouth, trying to steady her breathing. She couldn't afford to fall apart. Not now. Not when Leo needed her. She looked between the two men, her past and her present, and felt the earth shift beneath her feet. Stop, she whispered, voice small but frantic. Please, both of you. We don't have time for this. We need to find my son. Adrian immediately turned to her, softer, controlled. Elena, let me help. I have resources, security teams, private investigators, access to city cameras. Whoever took Leo, we will find them. Daniel's jaw tightened, but he spoke gently to her. And I'm not leaving your side. He's my son. I'll tear this city apart if I have to. Elena's breath hitched. She nodded, because she needed both of them right now, even if everything inside her was unraveling. But a terrible thought tugged at her mind. Adrian, she said shakily, is there anyone connected to your company who might want to hurt you? Or use Leo to get to you? Adrian froze. Just for a second. But Elena saw it, a flicker of something. Recognition. Fear. Or guilt. Daniel saw it too. What was that? He demanded. You thought of someone. Who? Adrian swallowed hard. There are people who aren't happy with decisions I've made. Competitors. Former partners. Someone I fired recently. But kidnapping? Elena, I don't know who would. His phone buzzed urgently in his hand. The screen lit up with a notification, unknown number, one new message. Elena felt a chill crawl up her spine. Open it, she whispered. Adrian hesitated only a second before tapping the message. A picture loaded. Elena gasped. Daniel cursed under his breath. Adrian's blood went ice cold. It was Leo. In a dim room. Sitting on a chair. Tear-streaked but unharmed. A small plush toy clutched in his hands. But behind him, a shadowy figure stood, face hidden, holding a newspaper with today's date. Then another message appeared beneath the photo. If you want him back, meet me tomorrow at midnight. Alone. A final line flickered onto the screen a moment later. And bring the folder you stole. Elena's head snapped up. Folder? Stolen? She stared at Adrian, heart hammering. What folder? Adrian, what did you take? He opened his mouth. But before he could speak, a loud crash echoed from the end of the alley. All three of them turned sharply. A figure darted past the streetlight, running, drenched, fast. Elena's heart seized. Did you see that? She gasped. Someone was watching us. Daniel took off after the figure instantly. Hey! Stop! Adrian grabbed Elena's hand. Elena, stay close. We don't know who that is. Together they ran out of the alley, footsteps splashing through puddles. But when they reached the street, Daniel was gone. The mysterious figure was gone. Only the rain remained. Elena's voice trembled. Where's Daniel? Adrian, what if they took him too? Before Adrian could answer, his phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, a single line. Midnight. Come alone, or the father disappears too. Elena's scream tore through the night. Elena's scream dissolved into the stormy night, swallowed by thunder and the distant hum of traffic. Her knees buckled as she clung to the wall of the building, breath coming in sharp, painful bursts. Daniel, she whispered. Not him too. Please, not him. Adrian stepped forward, reaching for her, but she jerked away, too overwhelmed, too terrified, too torn between fury and disbelief. How could this happen? She choked out. First Leo, now Daniel? Adrian, what is going on? Adrian looked just as shaken, though he tried to hide it. Wet hair clung to his forehead, his suit was soaked, and his hands trembled more than he wanted her to see. Elena, he said softly, I swear I didn't know this would happen. But whoever took Leo and Daniel, they're after me. Elena turned on him, eyes blazing. Then tell me why they're after you. Tell me about this folder they want. You keep saying you care about us. Then tell me the truth. Adrian forced in a breath, rain rolling down his face like tears he didn't have time to shed. You're right, he said hoarsely. You deserve the truth. All of it. He looked her dead in the eyes. There's something happening inside Hale International. Something dangerous. I discovered documents, a file, proving a massive fraud scheme run by one of my top executives. Millions stolen. Lives ruined. Elena's breath froze. Adrian continued, voice low and urgent. I took the folder as evidence. I was preparing to turn it over to federal investigators. But someone found out. Someone powerful. Someone who thinks kidnapping your son, and now Daniel, will scare me into staying quiet. Elena covered her mouth, horror spreading across her features. This is my fault, Adrian whispered. They want revenge. They want leverage. And they're using the people I care about most. Elena's eyes softened for a fraction of a second, but fear quickly swallowed it. So what happens now? She asked, shaking. They said come alone. At midnight. If you go, they might kill you. If you don't, they'll hurt Daniel. And Leo. Her voice broke. Adrian stepped closer, desperate and sincere. Elena, listen to me. I'm going to get them back. Both of them. I don't care what they want. Your son will come home. I promise you that. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to. But another voice echoed in her mind, Daniel's voice earlier that night. You replaced me. Her heart twisted painfully. The two men she never meant to choose between were now both in danger, because of secrets she never knew existed. Adrian gently touched her hand. Elena, look at me. She did. I'm not asking you to trust everything about me right now. But trust this, Leo is my priority. I will not let anything happen to him. Lightning split the sky, illuminating Adrian's face, fear beneath determination, grief beneath resolve, love beneath guilt. Before Elena could respond, a sharp buzz cut through the rain. Adrian's phone lit up again. Another message. Elena's heart stopped. Adrian read it aloud, voice trembling. We changed the location. Pier 17. 11:45 p.m. Come alone. Or the boy won't be alone anymore. Elena stumbled backward, hand over her mouth. They're moving faster, Adrian muttered. They're panicking. That's not a good sign. Elena grabbed his arm. What if they plan to disappear? What if 11:45 is a trap? What if... Her voice died, because headlights appeared at the end of the street. Slow, deliberate. A black SUV. It rolled toward them like a predator stalking prey. Adrian instinctively pushed Elena behind him, shielding her with his body. The SUV stopped. Engine idling. Windows tinted. No movement inside. Silence heavier than the rain. Adrian, Elena whispered. What do we do? He tightened his stance. We don't move. Not until they do. But then, slowly, mechanically, the back window rolled down. Just an inch. Enough for a small object to drop onto the ground. A walkie-talkie. A child's voice crackled through it. A voice Elena would know anywhere. Mom? Are you there? Elena's scream shattered the night. Elena lunged toward the walkie-talkie before Adrian could stop her, her hands slipping on the wet pavement as she snatched it up. Leo? Leo, sweetheart, I'm here. Her voice trembled on the edge of breaking. Static crackled. I'm scared. The tiny voice splintered her heart. Tears streamed down her cheeks, mixing with the rain. It's okay, baby. I'm right here. Adrian knelt beside her, eyes fixed on the SUV, muscles coiled, ready for anything. Elena, he whispered, keep him talking. Find out where he is. Elena clutched the walkie-talkie desperately. Leo, listen to mommy. Can you tell me what you see? Anything at all? A shaky breath came through. I see boxes. And water. It smells funny. Like fish. Elena's eyes widened. Boxes? She looked at Adrian. The docks. Adrian nodded grimly. Pier 17. The message was real. Before Elena could respond, another voice echoed faintly through the walkie-talkie, muffled, distorted, but cold enough to send a shiver through her spine. Time's ticking, Hale. Adrian stiffened. Elena felt her stomach drop. Put him back on, she cried. Please. A moment of silence. Then, Leo's voice again, small, frightened. Please come get me, please. The walkie-talkie clicked off. The SUV engine roared to life. Hey! Adrian shouted, surging forward. But the SUV sped away, tires slicing through puddles, disappearing into the dark like a monster fading into its cave. Elena fell to her knees, sobbing. Adrian crouched beside her, gripping her shoulders gently but firmly. Elena! Look at me, She did, barely. Her face was pale, lips trembling, eyes full of panic and shattered hope. "We know where he is now," Adrian said. "We have a chance. We're not going to lose him." "But Daniel," she whispered. "Where is he? What if they hurt him already? What if—" "We'll find him," Adrian said with quiet conviction. "But Leo comes first. And right now, they're using your son to control me. That means he's still alive." Elena closed her eyes, trying to breathe, trying to believe him, trying not to drown in fear. She finally whispered, "We have to go. Now." Adrian nodded and rose to his feet, pulling her up with him. Just as they turned toward his car, a sudden, sharp beep came from Elena's pocket. Her phone. She pulled it out with shaking fingers. One new message. A known number. Hands trembling violently, she opened it. A location pin. A grainy photo. She gasped. It was Daniel, tied to a chair, conscious but bloodied, with a piece of duct tape across his mouth. Behind him, on the wall, a clock, reading 11:20 p.m. And beneath the photo, one father, one son, one chance. Choose carefully, Elena. Her fingers went numb. Adrian read it over her shoulder, and his face hardened, like stone cracking under the weight of fury. "Elena, it's a trap." Her voice quivered. "They want me to choose between Daniel and Leo." Adrian placed his hands on her trembling arms. "No, don't you see?" His voice was low, urgent. "They're trying to divide us. Trying to make you panic. They won't expect us to outsmart them." Elena looked up at him, desperate. "And how do we do that?" Before Adrian could answer, another notification pinged on his own phone. He looked down, and the color drained from his face. "What is it?" Elena whispered. Adrian swallowed hard. "It's a live video feed." He pressed play. The screen filled with the image of a dark warehouse, and in the center, tied to a post, illuminated by a single swinging bulb. Crying, calling out. For her. Elena's scream broke the night once more. But this time, something inside her hardened. She wasn't breaking. Not anymore. She turned to Adrian, tears burning with new fire. "We're getting them both back," she said. "No matter what it takes." Adrian met her gaze. And nodded. But before they could even take a step, a shadow moved behind them. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Elena's blood ran cold. Adrian turned sharply. A tall figure stepped out of the darkness, hands raised in surrender. "I know where your son is," the stranger said. "And if you want to save him, you'll come with me. Right now." Elena's breath caught. "Who are you?" Adrian demanded. The stranger lowered his hood. And Elena froze. Because she recognized him. And the last person she expected to see, the last man who should have known anything about her child, stood inches away, rain dripping from his face. "Elena," he said quietly, "we don't have much time." She whispered his name. And everything she thought she knew began to unravel. Elena stared at the man before her, rain blurring her vision, her heart thundering so loudly she could barely hear her own voice as it slipped from her lips. "Marcus?" Adrian stiffened beside her. Marcus gave her a small nod, somber, soaked, exhausted, as though the weight of 1,000 secrets hung from his shoulders. Adrian stepped forward, jaw clenched. "You know this man?" Elena swallowed hard. "Marcus was my foster brother. When I was 17. She inhaled shakily. "We haven't seen each other in years." Marcus looked at her with something like guilt. "I'm sorry it had to be like this, Lena." The old nickname hit her like a ghost from another life. Adrian's posture sharpened, protective and suspicious at once. "What do you mean you know where her son is?" Marcus hesitated, glancing around the dark street before lowering his voice. "Because I used to work for the man who took him." Elena felt her entire body go cold. "You worked for them?" she whispered, stepping back. Marcus lifted his hands, pained. "I left months ago. I swear. But before I did, I saw things. Plans. Names." His eyes locked onto hers. "Yours, Elena. And Leo's." Her breath caught. "But why us?" Marcus shifted his gaze to Adrian. Because of him. Elena's stomach twisted. Adrian's eyes hardened, guarded now, but still burning with the same fear she carried. Marcus continued, voice tense. The executive Adrian fired, the one running the fraud ring? That's not just one man. It's a network. Powerful people. Dangerous people. And they think Adrian stole evidence that could destroy all of them. He pointed at Adrian's phone, at the messages, the threats. They want that folder. And they want revenge. Elena felt dizzy. And Daniel? Why did they take him too? Marcus shook his head. He wasn't part of the plan. He chased the wrong person at the wrong moment. They grabbed him because he got too close. Elena pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. Marcus stepped closer, urgency radiating from him. Elena, I know where they're holding Leo. But we don't have long. The meeting at the pier? It's a diversion. They're leading Adrian into a trap, hoping he brings the folder. Adrian's eyes narrowed. So where is Leo really? Marcus glanced over his shoulder, voice dropping to a whisper. They moved him to an abandoned cannery 2 hours ago. Near Harbor Point. If we leave now, we might get there before they relocate him again. Elena's heart surged with desperate hope, but also fear. Because if Marcus was telling the truth, there might be a chance. Why are you helping us? She whispered. After everything? Marcus's face softened into an expression she remembered from long ago. Sad, protective, loyal in ways words could never fully explain. Because you and Leo were the only family I ever had, he said quietly. And I won't let them hurt you. Adrian stepped forward, eyes locked on Marcus like he was trying to see through his soul. If you're lying, he said low, if you're leading us into a trap. I'm not, Marcus said firmly. But you don't have to trust me. Just follow me. Leo doesn't have ours. He might not even have one. Elena's heart clenched. She could feel the shift inside her, the moment fear became determination. She looked at Adrian. We have to go, she said. Now. Adrian nodded, though tension carved sharp lines along his jaw. Then we go, he agreed. But Marcus rides in the back where I can see him. Marcus didn't argue. They hurried to Adrian's car, rain pounding harder now, as though the sky itself knew time was slipping away. But just as Adrian opened the driver's door, Marcus grabbed Elena's arm. Lena. She turned. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. There's something you need to know before we get there. She froze. Marcus swallowed hard. The people who took Leo, they're not just after Adrian. He hesitated, eyes darkening. They're after you too. Because of something that happened years ago. Something you never knew you were part of. Elena's blood ran cold. What are you talking about? Marcus looked pained. I'll explain everything. But once you hear it, he exhaled slowly, your life will never be the same. Elena stared at him, heart pounding, dread curling like smoke through her chest. Marcus, she whispered, what did I do? He met her eyes. Lena, it's not what you did. Elena nodded tightly, eyes fixed on the dark outline of the pier ahead. But as they approached, her stomach sank. The entire area was deserted. Too quiet, too still. "They're waiting for us," Adrian murmured, gripping the steering wheel like it was a lifeline. The SUV from before was parked near the edge of the pier. Its tinted windows glinted under the flashes of lightning. And in the distance, a figure moved, slender, deliberate, hooded. Elena's heart stuttered. "That's him. Leo's kidnapper." Marcus whispered urgently. "We need to split up. I'll circle around. You two approach carefully. Keep your eyes open." Adrian's voice was firm but protective. "No. We go together. One mistake and they'll hurt him." Elena squeezed his hand. "Together." She nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. The hooded figure saw them approaching. A distorted voice echoed from a megaphone this time, loud and metallic. "Elena Rivera. You made it. But now a choice. Step forward alone. Or the boy suffers." Elena froze. Adrian stepped forward, placing himself directly in front of her. "Not a chance," he said, voice low and deadly. From the shadows, a second figure stepped forward. Familiar, impossibly familiar. Elena's breath caught. It was Daniel. But something was wrong. His face was pale, his eyes wide with fear, and there was a duct tape residue across his wrist. "Mom, help," he whispered. Elena's world shattered and solidified at once. Her two most precious people were in danger, and the person controlling it all was still unknown. Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Stay calm. Both of you. I've got this." But the hooded figure laughed and Elena froze. Then, in a voice cold enough to freeze the storm itself, the figure removed their hood. Elena gasped. It was someone from her past, a face she had buried in memory, a secret tied to her real family, a connection that explained everything Marcus had hinted at. Her knees trembled as the figure smiled. "Hello, Elena. Welcome home." Lightning flashed, illuminating the pier, the storm, the water below, the two men she loved, and the son she had fought so desperately to protect. But before anyone could move, a loud clang echoed behind them. Boxes shifted in the shadows. A rope dropped from above. Leo's muffled cry pierced the night. And in that moment, Elena realized this wasn't just about Adrian, or Daniel, or her past. This was about all of them. The past, the present, and the family she had fought to build were all about to collide in ways she could never have imagined. The storm whipped around them as Elena, Adrian, and Marcus froze at the edge of Pier 17. The water below lapped against the pilings, dark and churning, mirroring the chaos in Elena's heart. "Leo!" Elena shouted, clutching Adrian's arm. Her voice cracked, raw with panic and love. From the shadows, a rope swung, dropping to the ground near a cluster of crates. Leo's small voice came from behind the crates, muffled but unmistakable. "Mommy! Help!" Elena's heart leapt. "I see you, baby." Adrian moved forward, placing himself protectively in front of her. Marcus circled to flank them, moving with quiet precision. Then the hooded figure stepped fully into the light. The rain streaked across their face, and Elena's stomach dropped. This was no random kidnapper. This was someone who knew everything about her family. "Elena Rivera." The figure's voice boomed through a distorted megaphone. "Do you understand what you are? And why your son and your former companion are in my hands?" Elena took a shaky breath. "I don't care about your games. Give me Leo. Give me Daniel. I don't care what you want." The figure chuckled softly. "Oh, but that's just it, my dear. I do. You are special. And your father's enemies, the ones who raised you in secret, they never thought you'd survive. But here you are, and you've inherited everything they tried to hide from you." Elena's mind spun. Marcus had hinted at this, but the puzzle pieces fell into place now. Her mother, her hidden past, the enemies, and the kidnappers, they were all tied to her identity. She pressed herself closer to Adrian. "What does that mean?" Adrian's voice was steady, though his fists tightened. "It means whoever you are, we're not letting them hurt your family. Not Leo, not Daniel, not you." The hooded figure sighed theatrically. Very well. Choices, Elena. You can come to me alone with the evidence Adrian stole. Or watch your family suffer. Elena's eyes blazed. Her son's small cries echoed in her ears. Her foster brother Marcus glanced at her urgently. Adrian placed a hand on her shoulder, strong and unwavering. No, Elena's voice shook with fire. I will not do this alone. You want a choice? Here it is. You take me, you take Adrian, but you leave Leo and Daniel, because you will never break us. The hooded figure froze. And in that instant, a second figure emerged from behind the crates. It was Daniel, eyes wide but defiant, holding Leo's stuffed rabbit. Mom, he yelled. I'm here. We're together. Adrenaline surged through Elena. She bolted forward, sweeping Leo into her arms. He clung to her, tears mixing with the rain, and whispered, Mommy, I was so scared. Elena kissed his damp hair, holding him tight. I know, baby. I'm never leaving you. Adrian and Marcus moved in tandem, neutralizing the immediate threat. The hooded figures stumbled back, their carefully controlled facade cracking. Lightning illuminated their face, and Elena gasped. It was someone she had never expected to see. Someone tied to her real family. Mother, she whispered, voice shaking. The hooded figure smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and menace. Hello, Elena. Welcome home. You finally found your way back to the truth. Elena froze, clutching Leo tightly. She could feel everything in her life converging, the past she didn't know, the present she had fought for, and the family she had finally found. Her heart raced, but a quiet determination settled over her. We've survived this far, she whispered to Adrian, who nodded solemnly. We survive what comes next. Together. The storm raged around them, the night threatening to swallow everything. But one thing was certain, the fight for her son, her family, and the truth about her past had only just begun. And in the shadow of Pier 17, Elena realized that the life she had once thought ordinary, her love, her son, her hope, was worth facing anything, even the impossible. Elena held Leo tightly, the storm roaring around them like the chaos of her life. Her eyes never left the hooded figure, her mother, whose expression was a strange mix of pride, fear, and sorrow. I don't understand, Elena whispered, voice trembling. Why did you leave me? Why did you let me grow up alone? Her mother's eyes softened, but the rain streaked her face, making her look almost ethereal. Elena, I had no choice. The people I trusted, the enemies I tried to protect you from, they were ruthless. I thought hiding, keeping you in the foster system, would keep you safe. I never wanted you to know your heritage until it was too dangerous for them to reach you. And now, I had to make sure you proved yourself strong enough to survive on your own. Elena's chest tightened. You left me. You let me live in fear, struggle, scrape by. And Leo, Daniel, you could have hurt them. Her mother's lips trembled. I never meant to harm anyone. I was only trying to protect you, but the moment you returned that wallet, you began making choices of your own. Choices of courage, of heart. Choices that none of us could force upon you. And that's why they came for Leo. They realized you were stronger than they thought. Adrian stepped beside Elena, placing a hand on her arm. It doesn't matter why they did it. What matters is that we stop them now and keep everyone safe. Marcus moved silently to flank them. I know how they operate. We have a chance to end this tonight. But we have to act smart. We can't let them split us up again. Elena nodded. She looked down at Leo, his small hands clutching her jacket. I won't let anyone hurt you. Not ever. And we're not running. We're facing this together. Her mother sighed, almost a whisper. I'm sorry, Elena. For everything. But now, you must finish what I started. Face them. Protect your family. The hooded figure stepped back, letting the truth settle over the pier. And for the first time, Elena understood the fight had never been just about survival. It had been about courage, about love, and about protecting the family she had built herself. Adrian took a deep breath, eyes locking with hers. We do this together. Me, Marcus, Leo, Daniel, as a family. We stand. They can't touch what we've built. Elena nodded. She felt fear, yes, but also a fierce clarity. She would not let her son be used as a pawn. She would not let the past define her. Then from the shadows of the pier, movement. The criminals, the ones who had orchestrated the kidnapping, emerged, stunned by Elena's defiance. "Stay back!" Adrian shouted, stepping in front of Elena and Leo. Elena felt Daniel's hand on hers, trembling but steady. "I'm here," he whispered. "We're together." Her mother, finally lowering her hood, revealed the last piece of the puzzle, the truth about the enemies who had tried to control her life, and the reason they feared Elena. It wasn't just Adrian's stolen folder. They feared Elena's own identity, her heritage, and the courage she carried unknowingly. Elena's eyes widened as the revelation hit her. But instead of panic, she felt something stronger, determination. "Enough!" she shouted, voice carrying across the pier. "You won't use fear to control us. You won't hurt my family. Leave us, or face the consequences." The storm seemed to pause, as if the universe itself held its breath. Adrian stepped forward, fists ready but controlled. Marcus flanked the group, scanning for escape routes. Her mother's gaze softened, silently lending Elena her strength. For a moment, silence. Then, one of the criminals lunged toward them. And in that instant, the chaos broke. The fight for Leo, for family, and for love erupted. Hands grabbed, ropes tore, and rain mixed with determination as Elena realized she had survived every challenge in her life to this exact moment. She would not fail now, because she had hope, because she had love, because she had family, and no storm, no threat could take that from her. Elena, Adrian, Daniel, and Leo stood together in the sunlight, far from the darkness of Pier 17. Her mother had helped them untangle the mess of secrets, and the criminals had been brought to justice. Adrian had returned the folder to the authorities, proving the fraud and protecting countless lives. Leo laughed, chasing bubbles in the backyard. Daniel smiled, finally free from fear. Elena watched them, heart full, realizing that love, unexpected, complicated, and messy, had brought them all together. Adrian knelt beside her, taking her hand gently. "You did it, Elena. You saved them all." She smiled, brushing a wet strand of hair from her face. "We did it. Together." Leo ran to her, arms outstretched. "Mommy, Daddy." Family hug. And as they embraced, Elena realized that the true treasure she had returned that day, long ago, wasn't a wallet. It was hope. Hope that love could survive storms, secrets, and fear. Hope that a family could be chosen as well as given. And as the sun broke through the clouds, Elena knew, finally, this was just the beginning of their life together. The morning sun streamed through the windows of a warm, cozy house near the river. Birds chirped outside, and the scent of fresh pancakes filled the air. Leo, now 10, bounced around the kitchen, apron slightly too big over his small frame. "Mom, Dad, I made a pancake tower." Elena laughed, brushing a strand of hair from her face as she stirred syrup into a bowl. "That's impressive, Leo, but make sure it doesn't topple over." Adrian appeared behind her, his suit replaced with a casual sweater and jeans. He kissed her temple gently. "I think Leo's tower might rival your baking skills one day." Daniel leaned against the counter, holding a plate of perfectly browned pancakes. "I don't know who's going to eat all of these, but I volunteer as tribute." Elena smiled, glancing at the family around her. It had been years since that stormy night at Pier 17, years since she had feared losing everything. But every scar, every struggle, every secret had brought them here, to laughter, warmth, and safety. Leo jumped into her arms, syrup on his nose. "Mommy, Daddy, Daniel, look at my masterpiece." Elena hugged him tightly. "It's perfect, baby. Just like you." Adrian wrapped his arms around both of them. "We're perfect all together." Daniel laughed, finally relaxed. "Yeah, I guess we are." Elena's mother, now a trusted presence in their lives, appeared in the doorway, holding a tray of orange juice. "And breakfast for everyone. No secrets today, just family." Elena caught her mother's eye and smiled. "Thank you for staying and helping us." Her mother nodded. I wouldn't have it any other way. The family gathered around the table. Pancakes, laughter, and stories filled the morning air. Outside, the sun rose higher, shining on the river like a promise. Elena thought back to the day she had returned that lost wallet. Who knew that a simple act of kindness would lead to this? A life filled with love, hope, and family. She had found more than just her son. She had found a second chance, a home, and hearts to share it with. And as Leo chattered on about his next pancake invention, Elena realized something else. No storm, no secret, no fear could ever take this away. Because together they had survived. Together they had chosen hope. And together they would always stand as a family. The sun glinted off the river, and for the first time in a long time, Elena's heart was completely, irreversibly at peace. Leo sat at the breakfast table, carefully coloring in a drawing of their house. Adrian peered over his shoulder, teasing, "Should we add a pool or maybe a rocket ship?" Elena laughed, sipping her tea, watching their son beam with excitement. Daniel joined in, making up funny stories about the rocket ship flying to the moon, and Leo giggled so hard he nearly fell off his chair. The family rode bikes along the riverside path. Elena and Adrian rode side by side, holding hands, while Leo and Daniel raced ahead, laughing. A sudden splash in the river startled them all, but Elena's laughter rang out as Leo shook off water like a tiny drenched dog. "I'm a superhero," he shouted. Marcus and Elena's mother sat on the porch, sipping lemonade as the sun set. "You've built something incredible here," Marcus said softly. "A family that survived storms, real storms, and came out stronger." Elena's mother nodded, smiling proudly. She always had it in her. But love, that's what made it last. Leo curled up between Elena and Daniel, clutching his stuffed rabbit. Adrian read aloud from a storybook, occasionally improvising silly voices that made Leo squeal with delight. Elena kissed his forehead. "Sweet dreams, my brave boy. You are so loved." Daniel added, "And don't forget, Mom and Dad have superpowers too. One of them is making the best pancakes in the world." Snow fell gently outside their warm home. Adrian and Elena built a small snowman with Leo, while Daniel fashioned a snowy dragon beside it. Laughter echoed through the yard as snowballs flew harmlessly, and for a moment, the world felt perfect, safe, warm, and entirely theirs. Elena and Adrian sat together on the couch, hands intertwined, watching Leo and Daniel asleep in the next room. "We've been through so much," Adrian whispered. Elena nodded, resting her head on his shoulder. "And yet, here we are. Together." Adrian kissed her hair. "Forever, if we choose it." Elena smiled, thinking of every obstacle, every storm, every secret that had led them to this ordinary, extraordinary moment. "Forever," she whispered. Life wasn't perfect, but for Elena, Adrian, Daniel, and Leo, it was exactly what they had always dreamed of, full of love, laughter, family, and hope. Every ordinary day was a victory, every shared smile a triumph over the past. And as the house glowed warmly against the winter night, Elena knew, no matter what the future held, they would face it together. "Boys." Elena stood on the porch one quiet morning, sunlight glinting on the garden she and Adrian had planted together. Leo and Daniel chased each other across the yard, laughter spilling into the air like music. Adrian leaned against the railing beside her, sipping coffee, calm and steady. Elena's gaze drifted to the small leather wallet tucked in her pocket, the very one she had returned years ago on a rainy street. She remembered the panic, the fear, the unfamiliar weight of responsibility as she handed it to Adrian, a stranger at the time, a billionaire who didn't know her life. She had no idea then how that one small act, simple, kind, courageous, would ripple into everything. The stormy nights that tested her bravery. The truths of her past she had never known. The love that had grown, slow and steady, between her and Adrian. The family she had fought to protect and ultimately found. Elena smiled, tracing the worn edges of the wallet. It was more than leather and bills. It was the spark that set everything in motion. Hope, courage, and connection had flowed from that one moment, eventually shaping a life full of laughter, love, and resilience. Adrian squeezed her hand. Thinking about the wallet again? Elena nodded, a soft laugh escaping her lips. It's funny, I almost didn't pick it up that day. I almost walked away. And instead, Adrian said, his voice tender, you picked it up. And that decision changed everything. Leo ran up, tripping over his own feet, and tumbled into her arms. Mommy, Daddy, look what I made. He held up a crooked, colorful tower of blocks, the pinnacle wobbly but standing. Elena hugged him tightly. It's perfect, Leo. Daniel appeared behind them, arms crossed but smiling. Just like our family. Elena looked at them all. The boys, Adrian, her mother standing quietly at the edge of the yard, and her heart swelled. She thought of every storm they had survived, every fear they had faced, and every choice they had made together. And she realized, sometimes the smallest decisions, like returning a lost wallet, can carry the power to change everything. Hope, love, family. The threads of life, woven carefully, could turn a single act of kindness into a story that lasted a lifetime. Elena smiled, closing her eyes, letting the warmth of the morning's sun wash over her. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "Thank you for letting me find my family. For letting me find hope." Adrian kissed her forehead. "Forever, Elena. All of it together." And in the quiet glow of the morning, with laughter echoing through the garden and the sun shining on their little world, Elena knew one simple truth. Some acts of kindness aren't just moments, they're beginnings. And theirs had just blossomed into forever.